Today's episode, my friends, we have the legend in the hobby, one of the few, very few former athletes, professional athletes that are big in the space. Nobody bigger than Tyler Wagner. So, welcome in Tyler to the show. Enjoy.
I grew up such a fan of sports memorabilia and sports cards, and I'm really excited that this show is both going to highlight that as well as the awesome entrepreneurs that make it all possible. Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into another episode of Talking Shop. Today, with a card space legend, Tyler Wagner, former MLB pitcher and current card personality. Welcome to the show.
How's it going, Buster? Good to see you.
Going good. Great to see you, and great to see your entire collection, or at least some of it, behind you here. Where are you? I see the Nevada plate. So
Yeah, this is at the house in Vegas right now. I lived in Scottsdale, Arizona for the last 2 years, sold my house in January, then moved back here. So now this is kind of where I hang out and sell cards out of and do the work.
you sold your house in January, so that was right before. Congratulations.
Yeah, part of the reason too. Yeah, I wanted to take most of that capital and put it into sports cards. The whole, what you're willing to sacrifice for, what you think is going to increase in value. And I made, and obviously, looking back at it now, January, might be the peak of the housing market, or, we don't know what's going to happen in the next couple of months, but hopefully it turns out to be a good decision.
No, totally. And, we'll talk a lot more about cards being a great decision in this episode, but I want to talk first about kind of your origin, because you, unlike most people who collect cards, were actually playing with all the guys that are on the cards. You made your MLB debut in 2015, and you played a couple seasons in Major League Baseball. Kind of what are your fondest memories from going down that path, and how do you think that kind of has helped educate you and made you ready for this other side of it?
Yeah, I got drafted in 2012 at a University of Utah, and then worked my way up the ranks in the Brewers organization. And then I made my MLB debut 2015, and then bounced around a little bit up and down between AA and then back to the big leagues. And then that season, at the end of the season, got traded to the Diamondbacks. So I started the year 2016 with the Diamondbacks, up and down again. Then got hurt the rest of the year, and then got traded to the Texas Rangers, and then spent the last 2 years in AAA. It's been a crazy journey. I've played with some, amazing teammates. The things you learn from baseball, the life lessons it teaches you, the adversity, the failure, just the brotherhood, I could name a million different things that, baseball has taught me over the years that, hopefully has prepared me for life after baseball. It obviously came a little bit earlier than what I thought, but, once again, looking back on it now, it's like, dude, I would have been, and I was especially, my last years in the big leagues, I was a fringe guy up and down. And just thinking about it now, dude, these guys, haven't played a game since September, haven't been paid since September. Just the struggle that, I would have still been in if I didn't make that decision to kind of walk away from the game at that time that I did. And a lot of different things happened to kind of show me that, it was your time to leave the game. I couldn't get a job after being in the big leagues. I couldn't even get a spring training invite after being in the big leagues. And so it kind of like just, hit me over the head of like, hey, listen to what's going on, like just move on. You like to enjoy other things in life. You can be successful at other things. So, the game prepared me for life after, and, taught me a bunch of lessons. And then on the card side of it too, it's like, when I first got into this,
How did you discover cards in the first place?
Yeah. So as a kid, I collected with my dad. My dad was a big collector. He's a big autograph guy. I got pictures of me and Frank Thomas, Jose Canseco. They used to have the home run derby out here in Vegas.
That's cool.
And so they held it at the AAA stadium. They were called the 51s back then. And for some reason they would come in, I believe it was like February, right before spring training. They would come to Las Vegas to have a home run derby. And it was like Barry Bonds, Ken Griffey Jr., like just literally Mark McGwire, like the biggest of names came there to have a home run derby. And like, just thinking about that now, I was on the field, like met all those guys, like, cause my dad is pretty well connected here in Vegas. And so we would always go to those events. And, you know, so growing up, like collecting autographs, you know, bats, balls, I mean, it just was second nature to me. And you know, kind of growing up as well, I would always flip stuff, you know, retail arbitrage for sure. And that kind of started, you know, with my first car was my dad bought me a 65 Mustang for $3,000.
Very cool.
And yeah, it was nasty. And so like, you know, bad paint job, bad leather, just pretty much, you know, all the stuff that I'm like, dang, this thing could be cool. So, you know, worked the summer changing oil, and then, you know, Pops helped me out a little bit, but you used a lot of that money to do some renovation, very like cosmetic work stuff, you know, like new steering wheel, leather, and like the cheapest paint job I could find. End up transferring schools from a public school to a private school, had to drive like 50 miles a day, had to sell that thing. Threw it on eBay, $8,500.
Well done.
So, yeah.
Well
so
paid.
then I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, dang, like, you know, I thought I was going to lose money on this thing, but it just increased in value. So I constantly did that growing up, you know, added powder coating rims, window tint, did the cosmetic stuff, and then flipped it for more. And so I've always just kind of had, you know, a retail arbitrage, a flip.
Knack for flipping.
Absolutely. So, and then, you know, going through the minors, you always see, you know, guys signing autographs, guys coming over, having your rookie cards, asking for, you know, a booklet of 50 signatures, and you got to sit there before the game and sign them all. And never really comprehended, you know, why these people were doing that, or what, you know, that guy's getting my autograph for and then giving it to that guy over there. And then as soon as I started getting into the hobby, you know, this time last year.
Who told you about the hobby in the first place? How does somebody who is, because I have this theory where most guys in professional sports have no idea.
No idea whatsoever. And like I said, when I was playing, I had no idea. When I signed my deal, and I'll show you some cards that I signed on my Bowman deal. Mm-hmm. I mean, I didn't even think about, you know, what I was doing at that time. I go to my computer from 2013, go through old pictures. I set up a GoPro for that signing, and I have a picture of me signing like my gold auto, you know, of 50.
Wow.
Back in 2013 when I signed the Topps deal. So like, I didn't really understand what it was at that time, but I was like, this is cool, whatever, I'll document me signing. And then I look back on it and I'm like, dang, I had some sick cards in there that, you know,
crazy.
You don't realize out of the player at all.
I'm sure for people wondering, people are curious how these deals work. So when you were in the minor leagues, does Topps offer everybody in the minor leagues a deal, or how does that work? So
if you're not like a big name, then they try to make it sound like it's a cool thing, and everybody gets a deal, and you sign. I think the deal is like $5, but just to be able to get the card, you have to sign your rights away to get the card. So it's like they're signing all these guys for cheap. But the bigger deals are usually per signature. So when they come out with flagship products like, you know, Bowman First, or, you know, Top Series 1, Series 2, they'll have a deal for those guys based on per auto. So at that time, I think I signed like 5,000 autos all at once with the Topps representative. So then they'll throw that product. And I never even comprehended how that worked either, that, you know, I could still go buy a box of, you know, I think it's 2015 Bowman and pull my own auto. And it's like, when you're playing or when you're signing that, you're not understanding that it's going into packs and it might not be open for a while. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. That's the beauty of it, that you don't comprehend at that time.
It's pretty crazy. But yeah, so I'm curious how you feel about this, but if I were a minor league player today and I really believed in myself, I would go out and buy all of my cards in the secondary market.
Absolutely. 100%. And there's a couple guys that are starting to do that. They're starting to see, I mean, you saw it happen in basketball with Giannis and how crazy that was.
Although there's a controversy around that we can obviously get into after you make your point, but what were you going to say?
Yeah, no, and the more that, guys see, you know, that you could pretty much gamble on yourself and use it as a form of investment if you really believe in yourself, whether, you know, you're an underrated prospect and you can get your cars for dirt cheap, or you're a high-end prospect and you're buying your one of one, or your blue auto that's numbered of 25. So there's so many different ways that you can do it. The
Yeah.
risk in the Bowman product, or like the first product, is a little bit riskier than because like I didn't play long enough to get into a flagship top series 1 or 2. I didn't have enough service time at that time for them to put me in that product. So the only card I have through Topps is the Bowman. Is the Bowman
Got
Chrome.
it. We kind of left people on a cliffhanger there, but let's dive into what Giannis did.
Mm-hmm.
So Giannis posted a video on TikTok and Instagram stories of his Giannis collection. And at first glance, it was, oh, this is great. He's in the hobby. And then you start looking closely, and a couple of them are cards that I had never seen before. I'm sure it was the same for you. And then the moment for me where I was like, something's not right here, was I saw one of one on the table. And the odds of pulling your own one of one. I mean, I'm not a numbers guy, so I'm not gonna say something is more likely
Basically
than something
zero.
else. Basically zero. I feel like I'm more likely to be Giannis Antetokounmpo than pull Giannis's one of one.
100%.
So what was your reaction when you saw that, and what do you think actually happened? Because I've heard a lot of different stories, but I'm curious.
Yeah, I haven't researched it much. I know the controversy and people posting about it, and zooming in on one of one cards and 12 of 75 or whatever it is that people spotted out. There could be a bunch of different things. He could, I obviously look at everything optimistically and try to not think that Panini is duping the system, or giving out cards that are supposed to be in products. Obviously I would love for it to be, they printed him an extra, and they kind of came up with a deal that you can't sign this, or you can't sell this at any point. Part of the deal should have been you couldn't show this at any point on social media. But I look at it optimistically, like that of somehow.
Or in a dream world, he's outbidding people on eBay for it.
For sure. Or yeah, he's got a burner eBay account that he's just, he's got a PO box in Milwaukee that he's sending this $20,000-$30,000 card to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of different things that could have happened. But the traction that it brought to other guys that even in the basketball space, baseball space, just any space, that are like, dang, this guy, sees the value in this. I thought it was just a piece of cardboard. I thought it was pointless, but this guy is seeing it as, either an investment. It's a cool thing that he could give to his family, memorabilia wise. He's going to look back at that and be like, dang, that was my first card. That was my first RPA. That was, here's my one of one. So, I would like to believe it, is a good thing for the hobby, and hopefully he's got some sort of deal with Panini that they printed double, and whatever it is.
And one thing that I've actually never thought of before till now, so I can't say that I have, but you have to imagine that, like, let's say Giannis, he obviously he's on a max contract, but it's around $30 million. 100%, $30 million worth of Giannis cards is in circulation at all points, right?
Mm-hmm.
So players should look at it as like it's like every dollar that you're getting paid is also out there in the market as an investment in a share of you.
Yeah, it'd be tight if there was like an investment firm that automatically put like 2% of your yearly salary into the hottest sports cards for yourself. That'd be dope.
Yeah, it's just there should be like a sports card trust.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking about an ETF that, like, a kind of like a stock, and have it be a collaboration of Prism, Optic, and National Treasure.
The safest way to do that, though, would be to buy complete sets and then just invest in, just have like that broken up. So like buying, I think a super smart investment, right before we came on, you were telling me about like some old boxes you have and stuff like that. But like buying a complete, like I bought a complete set of 2014 World Cup It's not that expensive. It's a couple
Mm-hmm.
$100s, but
Mm-hmm.
that is, if you don't know what you're doing, like I know nothing about soccer. I can name Messi and Ronaldo and Neymar, and I pretty much quit after that.
2014, that's it.
Right. Like Suarez, I guess, because he bit a dude's ear or whatever.
Yeah, and I know all those guys from, playing old school FIFA. So like the German team, like Ibra and like, all of these guys that, Suarez, all the Brazilian guys, because I played FIFA
Yeah.
with them. But then you look at it and I'm like, I bought all those cards on ComC. Nobody cares about those guys. But I had this predetermined thing that, this guy from Brazil that I played with in FIFA 16 was gonna, sell for more. And it's like, dude, nobody cares about
Yeah.
those guys.
There are some companies out there though, like Rally. Have you ever heard of them?
Mm-hmm. I think it's
They
absolutely brilliant.
that's like the closest thing, although it's a little bit wider than just sports cards, and
Mm-hmm.
it'd be
And I
interesting.
think I think Star Stock is starting to do kind of that
Yes,
similarity as well.
yeah, they're trying to change up the game from a purchasing standpoint, like to be able to buy in quantity, which I think is super smart, and I'm
Yep.
a big proponent of that, and those guys are the best. But then again, it's also like, why would you ever, if you know everything about sports cards, why would you ever open it up to other people if you just put it in yourself and help your friends?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's where I struggle with on the social media side of it too. Like everybody's got their mail days where they're showing what they're buying, and I get to that point where I'm like, okay, well I'm buying this whatever it is, 2012 Mike Trout Prism, and I find it undervalued. I'm trying to pick off the ones that I want on eBay, and if I show that, then next week when I'm still trying to buy that card, somebody might have saw that and sniped it from me. So it's like you got to constantly weigh this.
Yeah.
Do I want to show it? Do I want to wait till I'm done? But then you get ridiculed for pumping and dumping when you're done buying, but you're showing you're buying. And so like people have been like Gary V accused of it for pumping Ronald Acuna rookies or Devin Booker, and it's like at some point you have to believe that somebody who's worth millions of dollars, who runs a high leverage business that is super successful, is not pumping and dumping to gain $50,000 in Ronald Acuna or $10,000 in Devin Booker because he has 50 of them. So that's the
Then
constant
again,
struggle
you
with
have to
the
be
investment side of it.
totally. But then again, like you were talking about, and I've heard from a few different YouTubers and people of that nature, like you have to be aware of your influence.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't show off something and not expect it to go up.
Yep. And
So
that's yeah. I constantly do that. I'm like, because I look at all these, now the new thing is the investment platforms, and their top 5 picks or their highest,
yeah,
bought items that week or whatever it is, and it's like, it's so tough. But then I'm okay. I thought that was bad, and now I'm pretty immersed into the stock market world.
mm-hmm.
And I'm like, dude, it is 10 times worse than what sports cards are. These people are, I mean, we got companies that have 0 products, but it's all about news. It's about, the potential of something. The
Yeah, man.
company is valued at this, insane this insane evaluation. And you're like, I don't know how it comprehends, but then it comes down to supply and demand.
And I think a super important takeaway for especially new people in the hobby that are watching is not to buy a card because somebody showed it off,
Absolutely.
because everybody else thinks like that. And
Mm-hmm.
then you're following a group of people who are spiking it up. It's like, let's say Gary shows off his Devin Booker rookie that he bought for $250. Now everybody goes and flocks to it. It's 300 by the time you even get there. And that's obviously worth more than what it normally is. So do your own research, buy players you like, buy players you believe in, and definitely watch like card influencers, which is like a whole new niche, and I think it's only going to get a lot bigger. But for knowledge, not necessarily for like investment tips. And I think the same applies to anything. You should just always
Absolutely.
do it yourself. And I think too, like one of the reasons I hate when people share like what stock investments they make on social media is because from their standpoint, right? Like let's say I share a stock that I'm buying, and somebody buys it and loses money on it.
I know.
That's my fault. That's my fault that I caused a kid to lose his money.
100%.
And if he wins, great, but it has no impact.
Yeah.
It's just all negative. I hate it.
Yeah, and you don't know, even what price I'm in. So like if I show I'm buying DraftKings, you don't know that I bought it at $18. It's at 34. It might go to 20. I don't care because I'm into it for 18. You just lost $14. So it's like you got to know the whole, story before you, kind of dive into what is actually going on.
Yeah, man. Where do you think the card influencer industry is going, and how you said you've been in it for about a year now? How have you seen it grow over the last year?
Yeah, I mean it's a crazy space. I mean the YouTube, investment platforms. I think it's super special and super unique of how some of the investment platforms are going to mostly providing data, more data than eBay, more data than, it's just a data driven, platform where you can see, average sale, you can see the volume. So if 10 of them sell that day, if, there's a gap down, there's a huge sell off because of injury, or, a guy gets traded, then all of a sudden you could see, prices go up. So I think the ability to have the information now into an investment style or more of a chart that you can kind of see, because it's hard to go on eBay listing sold, and you're like, okay, one sold here for 55, one sold here for 52. This one included shipping. Oh, why does this one have $20 shipping? Now it's worth 70. And so like you're not having to jump around to find sales history so much. And multiple companies are doing it, whether it's StockX, obviously is kind of the idea behind a real stock market having an ask and a bid. And if those two meet up, then there's a sale. So just the basics of, how that is working. And I can go out there and throw out a bid, because maybe the market's at 700 and I think this car is worth 1,100. I'm not just going to put it on eBay and hope the auction gets to 1,100. I want to say, hey, my ask for this is 1,100. If you want to come up here and pay this, then you want to pay that, or else it's just going to sit there. And so I think now, more platforms are turning towards that, where you can actually see, hey, this guy's willing to buy 10 Acuna rookies right here for, 150. But, this guy's willing to sell up here at 190. So price is somewhere in the middle. Which one's going to give first? And that's, essentially how supply, pushes the price up, or demand pushes the price up, supply will put it back down. So I think the more that the industry goes towards charts and data and, kind of understanding what the, standard is for that, and whether it's, it's going to be hard with raw different, you're not going to be able to get a Spectra, and I think that's what Star Stocks is doing, is kind of picking the more premium Prism Optic, National Treasure, whatever it is, and just having those, so the pricing kind of cleans up itself.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you have a lot of cards by you, and I'm familiar with this dice rolling action that you do.
Oh yeah, a little bit.
Why don't we roll the dice to see what kind of cards you're going to be showing off?
Dang, okay, let me find this dice. So I started a segment a little bit called PC Sundays, Personal Collection Sundays.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking about kind of how the hobby was, and that the term PC can get real turned and twisted to pretty much however you want. And I think most of the time people think as PCs of like cards that you'll never sell. Mm-hmm. And so that kind of, if for instance, I bought a LeBron, rookie at $2,000. I'm not gonna. It's technically a PC for me, but now I'm shifting my mindset more towards a long-term investment, or a hold that I don't want to sell right now because the price isn't where it's at. But if you told me that this LeBron card I bought for $2,000 is now $200,000, and it's considered a PC and I can't sell it, then it kind of puts people in this bind of like, well, you said that was a PC and now it's selling on eBay, and And so I think we need to, as a community, as a hobby, if you're going to be an investor and if you're going to look at things, from an investment standpoint, then, kind of clear up the terms of, okay, well, I think this is a long-term hold, or I think this is, a quick flip. I'm more involved with this guy. This guy has more potential, and kind of look at it like that rather than
the second you lay it out, like from the get, you're in the clear.
Mm-hmm. Most of the things that I look at is kind of like more long-term, more riskier guys that, haven't proven themselves. Obviously, the safest that I see right now is geez, I don't know if you'll be able to see that.
We can see it.
Is LeBron. So, I mean, the rookie and
Very
the rookies,
nice.
I mean, these are no-brainers. And once again, like, I bought this, I think, the middle of last year for, around $1,500 or $2,000.
PSA 10.
Yeah, PSA 10.
Very nice. And they've gone way up and all over the place.
So it's like, if I said this is a PC, once again, if it hits $15,000, at some point I'm going to sell it. But right now I think it's still undervalued. So it's a longer term hold for me. So
and at the end of the day, if like the only thing between you and your dream investment or dream card is other PC cards of yours, it's like
100%.
You expect me to just hold on to them forever and not, make 5,000 here and get my dream card over there?
Absolutely. And so that's where I think that now my mindset has shifted to, I want to flip quick stuff, whether it's prospects, whether it's, up and coming stars, whether it's a big game, and I want to put that money into long term. So, it'd be, the same way I want to flip stock, and then I want to buy Amazon. I want to flip stock, and I want to buy, whatever it is that is the, Tesla. Like these companies, you know what I mean? Like just quality companies that, kind of just quality investments that, hopefully, LeBron can't do. I mean, just to think about LeBron's legacy and just the type of human he is, the things that he's been through, he's lived up to all expectations, and
he's still doing it, playing for the Lakers.
And it's one of the surest bets that you can have. But also too, at the same time, you can, in that player, then you can take, a little bit riskier stuff. So now you can go with, a mosaic, or, just, I think I bought this card for $11 and sent it to PSA, 2014 LeBron Prism.
Nice.
So like you can make, a silver select of LeBron. So even in your, sure bet of a guy that you're investing in, you can take even riskier stuff. So it's like you can, gamble on that certain player based on the set that it's in, whether it's, whether you see optic is undervalued, or whether you see select is a little bit under prism, but why? Okay, let's dive into, the print runs of stuff. And so there's a whole bunch, but just most of my stuff that I show, that I have as a long-term, is like really standard, just Giannis rookie.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
I have a good little Giannis story. I bought a Giannis rookie for $1 in 2014. $1 in a box. It was a box of $1 cards, bro. I was at a card show.
Oh my God.
I picked up a lot of cards, and that was one of them.
That's wild to think about.
Saw it
in
a box. I sold it, but I found it in a box when I was just getting back into the hobby. Must have been last summer, so almost a year ago, like August, September. And I was like, huh. And I looked it up, and they're going for like 300 ungraded, and that spiked up to like 1,000. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. So once again,
always trust your gut. Although I think I bought him because I liked how ridiculous his name looked on the card.
Absolutely. Yeah, then he ends up being one of the best in the league.
Yeah.
So, then you can get, a little bit riskier, and I could have bought a base card. I could have bought a silver, but I saw this, Luka Hyper kind of being undervalued. Mm-hmm. So, I didn't want to overpay for the base. I didn't want to overpay for the silver. So you can find little things in here that are like, okay, that's a little bit underpriced for his market.
What does underpriced mean to you, for those watching? How does somebody figure out if something is underpriced? Because silver, like, there's a lot of them. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of debates on how many there actually are. Base, there's a ton. Are you comparing the hyper to what hypers of other similar player rookies are going for? Or how are you figuring out the difference?
That and the difference between PSA 10s of a hyper and a PSA 10 of a
Got it.
silver.
Makes
And
sense.
then it's like, okay, well, if they overproduce these silvers, these hypers, there's not that many of them, but people don't know, and people are like, oh, hyper, whatever, that's Silver's little brother or whatever it is.
Yeah, why do people not like
I don't
hypers?
know.
I've never
I don't
understood
know. It
that.
looks the same as a silver, but I mean, I
Yeah,
think
it does.
once again, it's like this different set that's like, okay, maybe that came out of a Walmart hanger, or oh, that only came out of hobby boxes. Oh, that only came out of the Target exclusive. There's
Mhm.
like so many different things that you can kind of pick
Totally. And
apart.
you never know. It's like 2012 basketball Prism wasn't hot 4 months ago. LeBron from 2012, we're going for $5 or less. And all of a sudden they're $2,000 cards. You
100%.
never know.
Never. And so that's why like back in September, or maybe that of last year, even just Com C, just base. I think I bought these for maybe $1.60 or something.
Wow.
And
What
it's
are
like,
those going
I
for
think
now? Like,
I don't know, 10, 15, $20, but it's like
yeah, totally.
2018, 19, or, just even base Brady's, just all like just stuff that you don't think is going to hit. And then you're like, wait, this guy is a legend. And he only has that one card, whether it's base, whether it's silver, whether it's, there's still going to be guys that love LeBron that are going to buy in 2028. They're going to buy a 2018 card or 2019 card and be like,
Yeah.
dang, this is a 10-year-old card. This is cool.
Or when you really think about it, it's like, all right, his first year with Miami, his championship year, his first year with the Lakers, like his rookie year, his
Yeah.
second year. It's like all of a sudden half the years are like milestone years.
100%. Yeah, it's like what, and so that kind of, yeah, I mean, so then we'll go like this card. You could take this is this is a holo of Luka.
Very nice. Yeah.
So once again, I took a risk on it because I was like, okay, well, a silver raw in September is selling for whatever, $700. This optic holo I bought in September for $230. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna predict, and this took me 6 months to get back from PSA. Now it's a $2,000 card.
That's
So it's like
you're waiting for
PSA or your grading service, huh?
They kept you waiting for 6 months.
6 months. I put it in bulk service.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, you can, and yeah, grading will kind of save you or, mess you up if a guy gets hurt, say 3 months into what you had those cards at grading for, and now it comes back and it's worth nothing. So, I mean, grading could save you, but I mean, then, so once you get past like, Luka, LeBron, Luka, and kind of keeps going down as far as riskier and riskier because you haven't proven yourself. So then, you go with, I picked this up.
Very nice. That's a sick card.
Yeah, it's nasty. This is of 10. So once again, I think I picked this up middle of last year for, I think I paid $650, $700 for this. So I think it's, it's probably, but once again, people in my head haven't seen how valuable the select is. Because if you told me that you could buy a Prism of 10 for $700, you'd be like, bro, it's a $10,000 card.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about it like that, okay, well, there's only 10 of these in this select product. So like, how is it? And that's where, and I might be completely wrong. It might be a $200 card, but if I'm willing to,
It has to be
double down, take a little risk.
Guaranteed a top 5 basketball product.
Mm-hmm.
Debatable top 3, definitely for the price range, top 3.
For sure.
But you have to include National Treasures and like Flawless at the top.
Mm-hmm. And once again, maybe Panini comes out and says, yeah, we're just not going to make select anymore. And that could do two things. That could either say, okay, well, now select is not worth anything because they don't even make that anymore. They hated that product. Everybody hates that product. Or they could say, we're not making it anymore. And it's like, oh, that was the last year of select. You know what I mean? And so like, the market could go any way that it wants to.
But then again, the longer it goes, like for first year, I think first year is a super interesting phenomenon that we've only seen in the past couple of months become a thing. It wasn't a thing before, but buying the first year of products. You know what's a product that I think it has to happen to, but it hasn't yet? Flawless and National Treasures. Why hasn't first year become a bigger thing for the two most expensive products on the market?
What year is that?
2012.
Okay.
Same as Prism.
And
Anthony Davis, Kawhi Leonard rookies.
Yeah, see, I haven't even dabbled into the higher end National Treasure or any of the higher end RPA.
You'd be surprised at how not high end it is.
Really? Interesting.
You would be blown away that you can get an Anthony Davis RPA out of Immaculate for under $1,000. You would just be blown away. It's crazy. Dang. Some of these numbers. I mean, I'm sure nice graded Anthony Davis, like the horizontal ones are closer to what the National Treasures go for, which is like 10 grand plus. But some of the vertical ones people don't like as much, even in the newer products, the vertical RPAs. So you can get some that are around that price range. But even for some of like the legend stuff, like Shaq patch auto, $200 out of
even like something. This is a first year Noir, and I was like, oh, that card looks sick. So it's a Shaq sneaker
card.
Yeah, nasty with his sneakers that you can get either at Champs or Walmart, depending on where you want to get them. But it's like that's first year Noir. Like it's his first year, Shaq legend. I think I paid $110.
That's a really cool
Like
card.
if you can find stuff like that. So once again, you can get riskier and riskier, and then you obviously go with the super risky. I bought that raw silver auto, and I sent it to PSA on. I think I paid like a 15-day, and it came back at 10. So I mean, once again, this guy could blow out his knee tomorrow, and this card could be worth $6. I mean, not really, $100, whatever it is. But at the same time, this guy in 3 years could be the best thing since sliced bread, and it's a 10K card. So how risky do you want to go?
Yeah.
How much are you willing to risk on it? Where's the, and it's like the stock. Where's the bottom that, if it falls below this, then it's really going to bottom. But this seems to be a safety net where, people are paying that I can, see it go down there and be okay with it. And that's where you kind of got to weigh, risk and reward and kind of look at it more of a portfolio to me where, I have 70% for sure bets, Mike Trout's. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like that, this card is, I don't see it going down in the next 10 years. So
why?
If your for sure bets, make up a larger part of your portfolio, then you can take some risks here and there and kind of see where you want to dabble in the riskier stuff, or even, use that to be fun. The random stuff that you like the 2012 Griffey auto Prism. Because it's like people That's even,
what year
4 months ago. Huh?
What year did you say that was?
12.
Nice.
First year Prism, yeah. So it's like, I think I bought this card. I bought it as a BGS and then crossed it over with PSA. But even that, it's like you can find a undervalued set. People hate baseball Prism or Panini baseball because it's not licensed. But you look at, kind of like the iconic year of it. It's like 2012 Prism, bro. I don't know. You know what I mean? People are going to look back at that and be like, yeah, it's not that bad that, Trout's not wearing an Angels thing. Like, it's Trout.
Right.
So, and it's first year Prism. So, if you want to take that risk.
The logo's just hidden, that's all.
Huh?
The logo is just hidden.
So one card that I've been dabbling in that I think is going to be gigantic because of the Panini, because of the non-license, is this card here. So it's a Mike Trout, but USA Baseball licensed.
Interesting.
So national team from USA, they partner with Panini, and now they can produce him in his USA uniform.
I've seen some of their Team USA cards. They're nice.
So you can kind of pick, oh, that makes a little sense here. It's, it doesn't have to be Angels, but it's USA, it's Prism, it's a silver. I think the pop on this thing's like 4 maybe.
Wow.
From 2000 Prism.
And that's the
So
silver.
yeah. So like you can, and then you got like, I like this card. This is one of my favorite cards I've ever bought because I think cards are going to start to tell more of a story of the guy's year that card is from. So I've been looking at like a lot of 2012, 2013 baseball Prism, and I've been reading the backs of cards. And I'm like, dude, this is sick because you can see when a guy has a good year. You can see what they write about on the back. And then you could see when they make certain short prints to celebrate that guy's year. So a rookie of the year silver, 2013 Mike Trout, the year after he won rookie of the year. I mean, and so in that set, then you start thinking, okay, who else is in that set? In that 2013, Derek Jeter led the year in hits. So he's got a silver that says league leader in hits. So it's like, and then you look at that and it's like, that's Jeter's 14th year in the league, and he's leading the year in hits. So it's like, dang, that looking back on that card, he'll always have, he'll always be the leader that year. That card is always, going to be super rare. So it kind of tells a story of what happened that year. And I think that's going to start to be a huge part of how they do sports cards.
100%. I think that's a super interesting point. You got to do as much deep diving as possible, and that will that'll always get you the return. And also paying attention when stuff occasionally dips down, because it does. Like, in some ways it correlates to the market, and some it doesn't. But when it dips down, when things are a little bit lower, like mid-March, if you're fortunate enough to have the money ready, like Zion's went down in like the 300s and then doubled again right after, it's all about, like anything, when you get in. But I want to ask you before we wrap this up, a few questions for kind of the new collector. What would your best advice be for people that are just getting into the hobby now, regardless of how much money they have to spend on cards, but just they want to get in, they want to learn? What should they do?
Yeah, I think it's all about information. It's all about, figuring out your specific game plan, whether that's, when I first got in the hobby, there was so many mistakes that I made, but I gravitated more towards, Topps Heritage, because in my mind, Heritage only had 2 different rookies. They had their base rookie, and then they had their action rookie. And so if they were good, they had an action rookie. And it was just so simple for me to understand that I could buy this rookie card. This is going to be the rookie card in this set, and I can bet on guys that I like. So without doing my research, at the same time last year, I could have been buying I was buying Ronald Acuna, Soto, Gleyber Torres, Ohtani, all the 2018 class I was buying at that time, because I'm like, dude, baseball is super undervalued. I bought Heritage. Heritage went from, I was buying these base cards at $2. Heritage went to $6.
Wow.
If I would have took that same investment and put it into flagship series, top series 2, Ronald Acuna's, you could have bought those for $4. Now it's a $70 card. So really figuring out but at the same time, I learned so much from that mistake of what demand is, what supply is. And so I think the biggest thing is just figuring out what you plan on doing as far as investment wise. If you like collecting, if you like PCing, if you want to open packs, you have to have a realistic assumption of what is going to come out of that. If you're opening packs for investment wise, then you're not doing your research. You're not understanding that this is not an investment.
You're not going to make money.
And you're not going to make money. But at the same time, if you're honest about what you want, and like, dude, I want to open 2 boxes a month, and I want to gamble, and I want to have fun, then that in your head, you have that intention going forward, and you can execute.
Or you want to make content, which that's the only way I can see you making money, opening boxes.
Yep. So I think the biggest thing is really understanding what you want your outcome to be, and then your actions have to follow that. So once again, if I'm trying to, and that's what I realized, if I'm trying to run a business doing this, is that a, you know, an honest reality that I can do, or do I have to be like Blez? Do I have to be like Jaspy? Do I have to be like all these, you know, powerhouses to really
Alumni of the show.
Huh?
Alumni of the show.
Absolutely, yeah. But absolute legends, and this is what these guys do 24/7.
Yeah.
They eat, breathe, sleep. So for me to think that I can get to that level just by doing what I'm doing here, and I'm opening, you know, boxes on Instagram once a week, the reality of that being a full-time, you know, $100,000 business is probably not likely if you're not willing to do what those guys are doing. Those guys are successful for a reason. And Blez eats, sleeps, and breathes sports cards nonstop. So really just figuring out what you want.
Yeah.
Figuring out what you want your intention to be, and having the actions follow for sure.
I love that, man. Where can people find you best?
I got one more there. I haven't shown the that's my first card.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Fire. Is it numbered? It says orange.
Yeah. This is the 25.
Did you get it on eBay?
Yep. Fire. So then I got a couple just BGS autos.
Oh, sick.
And then my one funny, I don't know where that went. I had a deal
I'm
with.
literally gonna go on eBay and see if they're. I mean, maybe you picked them all up already, but I want one.
Yeah, I tried, and then I have. This is kind of like my holy grail to that's a gold auto.
Damn. Oh, I have. I see a couple
On eBay.
Yeah.
Let's go. They're probably way overvalued. Don't buy them.
20.
Yeah. So I mean, it's fun. Yeah.
$5 done.
Let's go.
I'm in.
Let's go. See, little do you know, I just sold you that card.
Did you?
I'm just playing.
I wish.
But yeah, I mean, the hobby is. I mean, the hobby is just getting started. The more that, you know, platforms come up, the more that athletes get into it. I mean, there's just so many different things that can come into the hobby still that will propel the hobby forward.
July 14th, I get it.
No way.
Yeah, I almost want you to sign it again for me.
Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, see, that's what, yeah, you don't comprehend that either, that this auto is obviously worth way more than me, you know, signing an auto in the mail.
Of course.
And you know, people are like, oh, hey, can you sign this? And I'm like, I'm probably devaluing that.
You are.
You're not going to be able to get a PSA 10 on it.
If LeBron signed his 1 of 1, it is now worth less.
Yeah, how crazy is that?
Which is such a crazy concept.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was, you know, designed for it, then.
Yeah, if it said, like my gold auto, yeah, if it says.
Could you imagine if LeBron was signed to Panini?
Golly.
How crazy those cards would be. LeBron has never signed a card for Panini.
Unreal.
Yeah,
that's crazy to think about. The big contracts like that, Upper Deck and you know, Tops, and just the leverage that they have as a company to, you know, and how important that is in the widespread in the long term of things. Of you know, Jordan's never signed a Tops, never signed a you know.
And I get why it makes sense for LeBron for Upper Deck, because it's apparel deals. It's not card deals necessarily. So I get it, but like, and you can't be mad, by the way, if LeBron doesn't want to sign your Panini card, because he legally can't. Yeah. But last question here before we wrap up: where can people find you best on social?
Just on Instagram, it's Tyler Wagner.
Perfect, easy as that. My friends, check him out, show him love, subscribe, like, comment. See ya. Big thank you again to Tyler for coming on the show. He's the best. Go show him some love. Follow him on social. Tell him that you came from Talking Shop. And without any further ado, subscribe, drop a like, drop a comment, and see ya. I'll see you next time. Peace.